I'm not used to talking to the camera. It's like I just need to pretend that I'm talking to somebody. Like there's somebody right here. You are the viewers. I'm having a conversation with you. I'm talking to you, the viewers, about what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Big Brother because I love Big Brother. I love talking about Big Brother, and I'm talking about it with you. I'm sharing my love for the game with you guys. So that's what I'm doing tonight at 1:26 in the morning, day before premiere. Big Brother 24 is premiering tomorrow. Tomorrow. It's coming. It's here. It's already here. It's here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sink or Swim. My name is Jacob. Today we are going to talk about our fresh 16 brand new house guests just revealed today. Sadly, I had to go to work. I was devastated. I wanted to film this video all week long. They announced yesterday that the cast is going to be. Well, they announced like a week ago that the cast is going to be released on Tuesday, day before premiere, which is kind of unprecedented, I think, for Big Brother. Usually we get our cast way in advance. But I think because of COVID, we got people dropping out left and right. They don't want to commit to a cast too early. But anyway, they said they were going to release it on Tuesday. I know I work on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. And so this morning I wake up. I'd heard it's either going to be at 12 o'clock noon or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm praying, I'm hoping. Please let the cast reveal be at 12 so I can film my thoughts, my immediate first reactions to the cast before I go to work. I'm a working man. I got to make money. I can't make money off YouTube yet. But alas, it was at 3. So I was at work just furiously scrolling through Twitter on my phone, and now by the time we're here, we're already down one house guest. Despite all the delays to the cast, they waited so long to reveal the cast, probably to avoid this exact situation. Poor old Marvin is gone already. He's already gone. Marvin, we hardly knew you, Marvin. I kind of liked Marvin. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is sink or swim because there's only two things that house guests can do. Anyway, we're going to talk about the cast. I'm glad I waited because now we have a new person, Joseph, who I would not have been able to. I would have had to add him in later if I'd posted this. I would have had to add an addendum, an extra 60-second video that says my thoughts on BB24 Joseph. But before we get into the cast, I just want to say I love Big Brother. I'm so happy that I'm here tonight, that I have the opportunity to just chill out at 1:37 in the morning, and I'm just going to casually chat. This is going to be a very casual channel. Sometimes if I get really excited, I'll probably aggressively talk about strategy at different points in the season, but for the most part, Sink or Swim is going to be about the real show of Big Brother, which is the Big Brother live feeds. If you don't know, it's a live stream that plays pretty much 24/7 on the Paramount Plus app or website. It's what makes Big Brother so special to me. I've been watching the live feed since Big Brother 16. That's a lot of years. It's not as long as most people in the Big Brother community who have been watching live feeds forever. I know Dingo Hamster Watch, my idol of the Big Brother community. Dingo's been watching since the very beginning. I think. I could be wrong about that. Maybe I'm not as big of a Hamster Watch fan as I thought. Anyway, follow Hamster Watch. I'm rambling already. Can you tell this is my first podcast? But the Big Brother live feeds are the real show. You get to see these people. I'm going to call them hamsters because the Big Brother house guests are hamsters in a cage. You get to watch them spin on their wheels all day long. You are a fly on the wall, and you get to just see them play out this social experiment where they have to interact with each other, and the social dynamics are playing out with the scrutiny of the world upon them. I cannot imagine the pressure of being in that house and knowing that every little thing you do is being microanalyzed, not only in the macro by millions of people across the country, but in the micro by thousands of very dedicated people online that are microanalyzing your every move. Sometimes it, like Rob has a podcast, a podcast that I've religiously listened to that you should listen to as well. The LF Shout out to the LFC Roundtable, who I can't wait for their content once again this year. The players are being rated every week on how well they're playing the game. I'm going to do some of that on this podcast, but today we are going to take a look at the cast. We are going to take a look at the 16 people that will be occupying the hamster habitat for an entire summer for our amusement, who we are going to pick apart. We're going to learn everything about the ins and outs of their personalities, their quirks, how they operate, how they interact with people. Are they good socially? Are they terrible socially? Are they an outcast? Are they a social butterfly? Are they a competition beast? Are they a competition flop? It doesn't even matter. I love them all. I love this. I love Big Brother. I love the concept. And we get to we have another summer now where we get to do it all over again. My favorite thing. So here we go. We're just gonna jump right in. I guess I'll give my first impressions on the cast as a whole. And I know we have a new casting director that I believe started last season. It was Robin Cass for, as far as I know, the entire duration of Big Brother for the most part. And it recently changed to Jesse Tannenbaum, I think his name is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, but he started with Big Brother 23, and there's a huge noticeable shift in the type of cast that was brought to the show. Some may argue for the better. I would say it's a mixed bag, and I'll kind of explain why. Um, and it depends on what you want to get out of a cast on Big Brother, which people watch Big Brother for different reasons. I'll explain my reason for what I personally enjoy in a cast on Big Brother. And there are things that work for Big Brother casts that don't exactly translate to something like Survivor casting. Um, but anyway, the Big Brother 23 cast was very safe. And by safe, I mean they were, for the most part, very polite. It seemed like how I viewed the Big Brother 23 cast was they picked 16, or maybe like I'd say like 12 or 13, like generally successful in their lives, uh, well-mannered individuals who care about how they come across, who for the most part care about being respectful, care about how they are going to be perceived by the world. Um, and it's in that way that I mean that casting plays it safe. When previously, and this is for better or worse, casting in the past has been very archetype driven. Every cast by Robin Cass had the nerd, and this is where many criticisms of the old casting style come, where you'd have the nerd, the gay person, the black girl, the black guy. It was very archetypal, kind of very, very predictable, the type of people that you would like. It was like the cast is like the same every year, just change out the names and maybe like a handful of like kooky wild cards thrown in there. But this new cast is very different. Like everyone kind of blends together a little bit more. There's less like stand out, like boom. There's like crazy characters left and right. Like you don't know like what you're gonna get from this like firecracker cast. Um, so yeah, in that sense, it's the same here as it was in Big Brother 23. Big Brother 23 had its standout characters, but nobody was like a mind-blowing, like unique, like someone that's going to be on the front page of like this is the person that makes like, or these are like the handful of people that are like standouts from this cast. There weren't really that many in Big Brother 23. Not that I dislike the cast of Big Brother 23, but generally they were more low key as characters generally, and it seems to be the same thing here. Uh, they all seem nice. I guess I'll put it that way. I hope that changes. I hope the stress of the game brings out their feisty side, but nobody seems feisty. I guess that's what I'll say. Sometimes I want a little feistiness. Not too much feistiness. If you get too feisty, then you get something like BB21 or BB19. BB19 is like the extreme, like toxic, everyone's just vile kind of personalities. Like so much toxicity in bad behavior that it makes the live feeds like unwatchable. Like I get no pleasure in watching people be bullied and harassed and tormented, and they just like their personalities have nothing interesting to offer. Uh, they're just not enjoyable to consume content of. Like they don't have any interesting life stories. But anyway, let's just start from the beginning with my man Terrence. Terrence Higgins, the first house guest of Big Brother 24 that I'm going to speak of. He is 47, so I believe he is the oldest person on the cast, if not Nicole. Let me check real fast. Nicole is 41, so Terrence is the oldest hamster in the habitat. He is from Chicago, Illinois, and he is a bus operator. I was joking with my friends that Terrence, Big Brother is so corny in the broadcast version, the edited broadcast version for CBS for TV, is so corny with their sound effects and slide whistles. And we were just joking that Terrence, every single time he's in the diary room, he is going to be forced to crack jokes about throwing people under the bus because he is a bus operator. And it'll be funny, probably the first time and no time after that. But they will continue just hammering the joke over and over and over because the Big Brother diary room producers do not know when to stop. Oh well. Maybe it'll be different this year. We can only hope. It won't be. But anyway, Terrence, I'll also say, like, when analyzing this cast, I don't like to dwell much on what, like, the answers to their questions. And I do the same thing on Survivor, where when I'm watching an episode of Survivor, like, other people that are watching with me are really taking to heart the things, like the words that people are saying in their confessionals, and they're using that to try to discern like what is going to happen at tribal council, like what the vote is going to be. And I try my best to look through that. I've always said that, to go back to Survivor, the only thing that matters in the game of Survivor, like the only thing that really means anything, the only way you can see through the edit is by the votes that show up on those pieces of parchment. And I kind of feel the same way in the sense of Big Brother. Big Brother is a very social game, and so people's mannerisms, the way people carry themselves, the way people speak, the way they phrase their sentences, even, that is generally, in my opinion, more indicative of how successful they will be in the game than whatever convoluted strategy answer they give to a nonsense question by magazine. I love the interviewers this season, by the way. No hate to them. The CBS producers are throwing a bunch of nonsense, like making people do things last minute. So the interviewers did the best they could, but I'm just saying I'm not going to take the house guests' answers super seriously, because if past seasons are any example, these answers are nonsense. They don't do 90% of the things they say they're going to do. So who cares? I'm not going to really care about it that much. I'm just going to tell you the read I have on them and what type of hamster I expect them to be in the habitat. And it will be fun to see how accurate I am in these predictions in the end. So let's start with Terrence, my boy Terrence. Uh, I think he has a lot of game to play if he gets the chance. Um, like, judging by his answers, he seems to be thinking through a lot of what he's going to do. He is an older player. He's the oldest player, which is usually a massive challenge in the Big Brother house. Um, and he every answer that was thrown his way, he seems to have thought it through a lot. He says that he can sell himself. Terrence is like, it seems like he has something to prove. He's going to have a very uphill battle in the game, but he seems confident enough that he will be able to execute the strategy that he seems to have put together in his head. And I'm interested to see that in an older player. A lot of times players in general kind of just go in there saying, I'm just going to be myself. I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm in there to compete. I'm going to do my best. He's not saying anything like that. Like he says that he has a plan. He's going to try to execute it. Doesn't really matter what his plan is, but it's just the fact that he is calculated in some way. He appears to be, at least. So, and he seems to be a chill guy. He seems to be a chill guy. I always love older players in the house. I think they offer a lot on the like they offer a lot to the live feed viewing experience. I think of Kevin from Big Brother 19. He was honestly the highlight of that season because older players in the house just have a lot more life experience and they have more interesting stories to tell. So I'd be interested to hear. He's a bus operator, so I don't know what kind of stories he can have in regards to that. Obviously, he's not going to hide his profession. I don't know why you would hide that you're a bus operator from Chicago, but yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see Terrence on the live feeds. One thing I'll say is that his interview was very sleepy, and this is kind of the case for all of the interviews that we got. The video interviews, let me be clear, not the text interviews. I honestly didn't even bother with the text interviews because what they have to say is not all that important to me. Uh, but yeah, he was very sleepy. Uh, I don't blame them because they've been sitting in a hotel room for God knows how many days or weeks, and there's not much to do in there. And they're just talking to themselves and just answering questions from text on a screen and looking into a webcam. And so I'm waiting to see his real personality come out when he gets in the house because there has to be more to this guy, Terrence, than we saw in his interview. He's very low energy in the interview, but I have the feeling there's a lot more to him that we're gonna see once the show starts. I'm looking forward to. I have high hopes for Terrence. I want to see more. I don't know if Terrence is gonna win the game. I don't even particularly care who wins the game. I'm here for a good time, but and I hope we get it. I hope we get a good time from Terrence. All right, let's move on to Taylor. Taylor. All right. If I were to parrot the opinions of Twitter, of Big Brother Twitter, of the BB24 hashtag on Twitter, which I'm going to try to be more active in. I struggle to be active on Twitter because the BB24 Twitter hive mind is very reactionary. They're very emotionally charged, uh, very often toxic. Like they're already digging up so much crap on these people. It's like the Big Brother community likes to self-sabotage like their viewing experience. Like, don't you want to enjoy Big Brother? Why are you going out of your way to hate these people that we've just been introduced to? Like, don't you want to like these people? Like, wouldn't liking these people make the show more enjoyable? Why? I just don't understand going out of your way to like tear these people down immediately. It's like fresh meat. Like, let's destroy these people. Like, it's fun to destroy these people. I don't get that. I don't vibe with that. It's not fun to me. Meh, it's just not my style. But anyway, the only reason I'm talking about Twitter is because Taylor Hale, age 27, from West Bloomfield, Michigan. She is a personal stylist. Taylor is, I'd say, the most anticipated house guest this season. Uh, Everyone is buzzing about her. She seems to know the game on a very deep level. She's a real fan of the game. She's here to make big moves. She's saying that she's going to play like Danielle Reyes. She's saying she loves Janelle. she's saying all the right things, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. She says that Big Brother 23, the most recent season, is the season that got her into the show in the first place. So she's a very, very, very recent fan. So essentially, that would mean that she's binged all of the seasons that she's seen in the past year, which is not a bad thing. Like, new fans are sometimes the best at the game because they're not just entrenched in the community. Like, their mind is more clear. They just kind of see what has been successful and they can just execute. Like, it's almost like they can be like more impulsive, like, rather than like, I don't know, maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know. I What I'll say about Taylor is that I am desperate to see if she can get her claws into the game. And what I mean by that is, like, if she can have enough allies to get by until jury, she will be a force to be reckoned with. I think. But I don't know. I don't know. It's possible that she will not make it that far. I mean, she's attractive, she's beautiful, she's outgoing, she's extremely well spoken. Every single thing she said is like the perfect thing to say, which is like, which sometimes can be intimidating. Like, when it seems like maybe I'm overselling her, Taylor. Maybe not, because everyone is obsessed with her. Like, she's just like, she's poignant in what she says. Um, and it almost seems like she's talking directly to the Big Brother fans. She's saying, I am going to give you exactly what you want. I'm going to play like Danielle Reyes, everyone's favorite. Danielle Reyes deserved to win. Everyone says, yes, Queen, that's true. It is true. She's talking about how Danielle Reyes only lost Big Brother 3 because the jury was not sequestered. Also true. Something that only a pretty deep Big Brother fan would know, that that's the reason that she lost. So, very good sign that she's studied the game on some level, or at least studied her game. And she's saying that she respects Janelle for being herself and not being afraid of the boys in the house. And she can still be like her loud and bubbly personality and like go out and win competitions. And she respects that about Janelle from Big Brother 6. It's just all the right things. I just, I hope that, I mean, I don't know. That sometimes the season is very male dominated, and sometimes there's not much you can do about it. And there's all no matter what Big Brother season you go into, there's always a chance that a huge group of men will happen to bond, and this group of guys will just steamroll the competition because they'll get a couple of girls who they can pull into the fold. Very often it's pretty easy to do, unfortunately. And players like Taylor, who seem to have a lot of potential, who someone like her would be very resistant, I would imagine, to joining the guys' alliance. She could get picked off early. It's very possible. I hope, and that's what I mean by I hope she gets the chance to get her claws into the game. Because if she does, I think she will be a hella entertaining house guest this season. And we all want that. Everyone wants that. I want that so bad. I can't wait to watch her on live feeds. That's what I have to say about Taylor. All good things. All good things for Taylor. I'm hoping for Taylor's success. Taylor Hale. Keep your eyes on her. Next we have, oh my god, I'm so sorry if I butcher her name. Paloma. I'm so sorry. I'll have to learn how to. I'll learn in the premiere exactly how to pronounce her name, and then I'll never mess it up again. But Paloma Aguilar, she is 22, so one of the youngest in the cast, maybe the youngest actually, because I think only one is 23. So I think she may be the youngest in the cast. She is from San Marcos, California, and she's an interior designer. My first impression of Paloma is she reminds me of Alyssa from Big Brother 23. And in that sense, I get the sense that she's going to be in a showmance. I, I take no pleasure in saying that. I'm not totally anti showmance in Big Brother. There are some showmances that are genuinely pretty cute. And it is kind of a special thing on Big Brother to watch live feeds and see a relationship blossom in real time. Like you're seeing the bond grow between two people, and very often, because Big Brother is such a enclosed, intense, like house guests that have come out of Big Brother have said that it is such an emotionally intense experience. Like it's a bond you share with those people that you were in there with for life. And that's why showmances are so successful more often than not in Big Brother is they are just bonded to such a degree that it bonds them for life. I think there's more successful relationships born of Big Brother than The Bachelor. That statistic could be wrong by now, but last time I checked, that was true. All this is to say that I expect Palma to be in a showmance. Clip this, play it back when she is fooling around, kissing, insert name of attractive man on Big Brother 24 in week 3. But we'll see. She likes Tangela, specifically Tyler, which is not a bad thing to like Tyler. Tyler is a legend of the game. Tyler is pretty much the main reason that Big Brother 20 was as entertaining as it was, because he was not afraid to make crazy off the wall moves with help of JC, of course, and entirety of level 6. But she likes Tangela. She specifically mentioned that she thinks the relationship between Tyler and Angela was very cute. Another reason why I suspect that she is susceptible to a showmance. She says she's a leader, but also carefree, and she compares herself to Tyler. And again, like I said, I don't take the answers super seriously, but the way she talked about Tyler and Angela, it was almost like she had like stars in her eyes, like she like almost like she was hoping for a similar story for herself in the game. She's like, because Tyler and Tangela, like they have like a almost like a fairy tale story in BB20. Tyler's playing an amazing game. They're in the level 6 alliance together. They're running the game. They get to laugh maniacally behind the scenes towards the end of the game when they've pretty much like affirmed their grasp on the game. Like they're like level 6 is gonna make it to the end pretty much. Like, and that's when they begin to fall in love. It's just, I mean, it's hard not to want that story for yourself if you're going into Big Brother. And so I don't blame her for wanting that. Or she seems to want that. I could have a wrong read on her, but that's the sense that I get from her. Um, but the way that would compare Palma to Alyssa from BB23 is Alyssa also got into a showmance pretty early, which was possibly manifested by Frenchie, which is pretty funny to think if that's true. Um, but Alyssa had this tendency to pretty much be asleep for most of the game. And in that sense, I mean, she wasn't really game talking. She wasn't very active strategically in trying to move the house. Like she wasn't taking any sort of control. She didn't have much agency in her own game. And that it was seemingly intentional. Like she wasn't really trying to. Uh so and she would turn it on at very specific points. And when Alyssa did turn it on, and she felt that she was in danger or someone close to her was in danger, like she could turn it on hard and she would run straight up to the I remember in the Frenchie HOH week when she got put on the block, she like right after the nomination ceremony, I remember she ran straight up to the HOH room, and she had been very quiet before this, but once she got put on the block, she went right to HOH and just read Frenchie to filth and just and pretty much convinced him immediately that he had made a terrible mistake. And she was very effective and very aggressive in that moment, and it worked brilliantly. And she displayed that a couple times in Big Brother 23, but not nearly enough to make any sort of substantial impact and kind of like plot her own course in the game. So I fear that same type of thing from Palma. Again, she's kind of saying all the right things, uh, but I don't know. She seems to have a really good head on her shoulders, and I like her a lot. I'm excited to see what she does. But I don't know. I don't know. I hope she proves me wrong. My guess is that she's going to be similar to Alyssa. She'll kind of have the right idea. She'll be aligning with the right people, but maybe not quite taking enough agency to take control of the game at any point. So that's my read on Palma. I could be wrong. Next is Nicole Leog. Leog, pronounced Leog, says it right here. She's 41, so second oldest in the cast. There's only two people in their 40s in the cast, that being Nicole and Terrence. She's from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and she is a private chef, but she was previously a police officer, which, in my view, is obvious from speaking to her. She says that she's not going to tell the house guest that she was a police officer. I don't think that's a good idea because she she has like a firmness to her personality from the interviews, and she seems to have almost like a soldier like discipline, I would say, which I can definitely see potentially being a problem in the wrong setting. I like her. I don't dislike her at all. I like Nicole. But I feel like if they don't guess that she's a cop, I feel like they're gonna guess that she was a soldier or a marine or something. Like she has like just this matter of fact, like firm tone to her voice, this like disciplined, like I soldier like is like the only way I can describe it. Maybe I'm way overemphasizing it. This is just the read I get. Like if I spoke to her in the house, like that's how I would read her personality. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It in the wrong context that could rub people the wrong way. Like if everyone is there like lighthearted, everyone's there just like trying to have a good time, trying to relax. Sometimes the house gets kind of messy. They're very carefree, they're just doing their thing. If she's super disciplined in her personality, then it could rub people the wrong way. I could potentially see it rubbing people the wrong way. I don't have a ton of faith in her ability to navigate the game socially, but we'll see. I mean, I'm ready for her to prove me wrong again. She said something that stood out to me is that she said that she's huge on integrity, which is another thing. It's a red flag to me when somebody says that in an interview when they're huge on integrity, because to me it's a flag that they will take things personally. Like if you're huge on integrity in Big Brother, then people lying to you or betraying you is like the ultimate it's the ultimate knife in the chest, and I think she'll take it personally, which can be a problem. Which can also like for a lot of players, if I were in the house, if I know there's an emotional player who is going to take a game move personally, that's someone I don't want to work with because their head's not in the game. Or maybe it is someone I want to work with. If I know that she's on my team. I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. The house dynamic is going to be crucial in determining whether Nicole sinks or swims in the BB24 house. So we will see. She says that she has an immense respect for Derek from Big Brother 16. She brings up her police officer relation to him as well. Do I think she could play a Derek game though? My gut says no, but we'll see. Moving on. Next, we have Monty Taylor. We have another Monty. I never thought we'd have another Monty from Big Brother Over the Top. This Monty is nothing like the other Monty. Monty Taylor is 27. He is from Bear, Delaware, and he is a personal trainer. Uh, I don't have a ton to say about Monty. Monty to me is one of the more, dare I say, boring members of the cast. And once again, like this is someone where I would say, like, you look at Monty as a casting decision, and I would just see the word safe. Like he is a safe, mild mannered, inoffensive type character. He's just a good looking personal trainer who, to me, is likely going to be a loyal soldier in a large alliance in BB24, which could potentially make for some pretty boring gameplay if Monty is going to be scooped up as a loyal alliance member. I could see him forming bonds with other men. Uh, I don't know if he will be in a showmance. I don't necessarily get those vibes from him. He Monty to me is Casey Big Brother 20. He is going to be a loyal alliance member to the end. He is going to play for his team. He is going to help to get his team to the end, whatever team that may be, whether it be a showmance, whether it be an alliance, whether it be whatever. Kind of boring, to be honest. Gameplay-wise, he's boring. Personality-wise, he's not really giving me much either. He just seems very nice. Monty's nice. He's a nice guy. I can't hate him for that. He's not giving me much. I have to be honest. Just he's fine. He's fine. Moving on. Michael Bruner. Let's talk about Michael. He is 28. He's from St. Michael, Minnesota, and he is an attorney. Michael, there's a lot of ways I can talk about Michael. He is here to play. Like, that is undeniable. But his archetype, he's like the stereotypical. It's a new casting director, and we didn't really get this archetype last season, but we have it back again, where you've got the stereotypical button-down shirt, glasses, nerdy personality type character, like an Ian or a Cameron or a Steve Moses. And that archetype is likely to be intimidating to less knowledgeable players, because it would be like if I came into Big Brother and I don't really know much about the game, which a good handful of these people are I mean, I'd say it's kind of like 50-50. Like 50% of the players this season, I get the sense that they like the show. They've watched the show for many years. They kind of know what the show's all about. They know like the basic meta of like this like the successful strategies of Big Brother, like what works, what doesn't work. But if I came in there and I don't really know much about the game, and I see Michael, and he is kind of showing that he knows a lot about the game, and it would be intimidating to me. Like, and I get the sense that Michael is either going to be Ian Terry / Steve Moses, where he doesn't reveal his threat level super early, and he gets to skate by and then win competitions and make moves down the stretch and potentially win the game as a mastermind. Well, I wouldn't say Ian's a mastermind or Steve, but you get what I'm saying. Or he will be a Cameron, where he is identified as a threat immediately and just sniped right from the start. Could go either way. He says he's not afraid to go against. Michael is an exception to my rule of not really taking what they say seriously, because he like very, very specifically articulates exactly what he wants to do. He says that he's a student of the game, and I believe him. Like he is an encyclopedia of Big Brother, like kind of like what I wouldn't say I'm an encyclopedia. There's still a handful of seasons that I have not watched, just out of like a lack of care to. Some of the older ones, sue me. I haven't seen every season. I feel like most people who say they've seen every season are not being entirely honest. Some people. I wouldn't lie. But anyway, I believe that he has seen every season. It shows. He almost seems like someone who would be on Big Brother Canada. Like he's like too good to be true. He's a real student of the game. He is like desperate to play the game. He's desperate to make moves. He wants to win. He wants this money. And he could do it. He could pull it off. I like Michael. He's a cat dad. He's got his funny black cat shirt on. I love the shirt. Literally love the shirt. Love black cats. I love Michael. I mean, if he can if he's a he is representing students of the game this season. He really is. Like he is like the true like textbook like I'm going to make all the moves that I know are the moves that can work, and I'm going to successfully navigate the game, make it to the end and win. Almost like a Kevin Martin, where like he wants to boil the game down to a science and just execute a plan perfectly, which I hope he can. If he pulls it off, props to him. That would be glorious. I'd be very happy for him. I will be rooting for Michael. I like what I see, but there is the possibility that he could be a fish out of water very early and get taken out very early. So I don't think that's out of the question either. I'm excited to see how he operates. Night one live feeds I feel like is going to be very indicative of where Michael's going to end up. He's either going to be an outcast or he's going to be a social butterfly. He is an attorney, so he's not an introvert. So I don't know. I like what I'm seeing from Michael. Some people say he's the white version of Xavier, which I don't know. I don't necessarily see that. Xavier wasn't really a game bot. Xavier was just kind of really good socially, like just like generally like well positioned in the house. Like Xavier was very good at positioning himself and like being like, I'm in a good spot, I'm gonna stay right here and not move and not rock the boat. And it was very successful for Xavier. He knew he was in a good spot. I don't get that sense from Michael. I think Michael wants to calculate every decision he makes, weigh the pros and cons of everything, like really understand like where he is in the house and what he can do to like maximize his position in the game. So we'll see. We'll see if he can do it. Next up, we have Matthew Turner, Matt Turner. I mean, his Turner last name is in quotes. It seems like that's going to be the nickname that he's going to go by this season. Oh my goodness. The very first thing I saw when I opened my eyes this morning was a text from my friend with the words in all caps, New Bedford, because that is where I grew up. That I live in Fairhaven currently, which is the town right next door to New Bedford, which is where Turner grew up. So, as someone who, this is the first season, Big Brother 24 is the first season that I can say that I applied for. And so the fact that someone from New Bedford, the town over from me, got onto this cast is just mind blowing and crazy. There's never been someone on the cast who has been so close to home. The store that he runs is right next to the college I went to. Uh, I'm getting ahead of myself. He's 23. His hometown is North Attleboro, Massachusetts, but his current city is New Bedford, Massachusetts, and he's a thrift store owner. Turner, it is going to be extremely difficult for me to not root for Turner in this game because he's like a piece of home. He's like a hometown hero. Like I'm gonna have to root for him. I posted on Facebook that someone from New Bedford is on this season of Big Brother. Like that gets people interested. People are invested. Oh my God, someone local is on the show. Like it really is like somebody local is on Big Brother. It's crazy. It's exciting. It's cool. It is cool. But if I have to be honest, Turner is going to be a disaster. He is going to be a flaming hot mess on Big Brother 24, and that's for a lot of reasons. He has no idea what he is getting himself into. Turner does not seem to know or understand the game at all. It seems like his answers in the interview, it was like he was like when he's being asked strategic questions, he is making up his answers on the spot. Like he's like, I hadn't considered that before. I'm just going to explain as fast as I can like what I think sounds like a good answer to the question based on the very recent seasons that I just recently binge watched. That's the sense that I get from him. He says that he likes Rockstar as a player and Christy Murphy from Big Brother 21, like two of the most like emotional, impulsive, like non-strategic, not so much Christy, but definitely Rockstar, like non-strategic players ever. He says that David Alexander is an absolute legend. I mean, he too says that he likes Tyler Crispin from BB20, which is good. That's better. Uh, but Turner is all over the place. He is bumbling. He is seemingly like neurotic, but in a funny way. Like I was chuckling during his interview because he doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like he knows at all what he's talking about, but he's like desperately trying to make you think that he does know what he's talking about, but it's just not working. Like his facade is just you could see right through it. He does not know the show, which is hilarious. Uh, I wrote down here, Turner is like if BB15 McCrae was desperately flailing, trying to justify why he's on the cast at all. That's all I can really say about Turner. I will be rooting for Turner. People are already on Twitter, like digging up. There's already drama with his sister or something, and I guess he was an editor for mega YouTuber Mr. Beast, and he was involved in some controversy where he was criticizing Mr. Beast. It's a controversy that I had heard about. I had heard about that Mr. Beast had an employee, an editor who was criticizing him. I heard about that. So the fact that this guy Turner is part of a controversy that I was already aware of, I didn't know that much about it. I don't care that much about YouTube controversy, but I'd heard about it. And so I don't know. It's interesting. This guy's a character. Turner. I'm happy that Turner is in the cast because he is a character, and I'm so he's like a wild card, like an absolute wild card in the game. I have no idea what this dude is gonna do, and I am just so I'm so excited to just see his flailing randomness in the house. I hope he doesn't disappoint. I hope it's very possible. Like if he just flames out and goes home early, fine. I'm sure it'll be entertaining as hell. He says he wants to be the first HOH, which would be very similar to McRae in that respect. That would be funny. Show me what you got, Turner. Turner trying to play the game is going to be glorious, and I can't wait. Oh my god, I just scrolled past the Marvin section. Marvin's not here anymore. Oh well. Moving on. Kyle. Kyle Kapner. Oh, Kyle Kapner pronounced Capner. Kyle Capner. Very sorry, Kyle. He's 29. He's from Bountiful, Utah, and he is unemployed. He's not unemployed because he's on TikTok. He's got over 500,000 followers on TikTok, so he's a TikToker. He's not unemployed. I don't know why they didn't put he's a TikToker. Do you make money on TikTok? I don't even know. But anyway, Kyle, my very first impression of him when I saw, like, the very first TikTok I saw of him was him shirtless with his bulging muscles holding a lightsaber, and he's like moving the lightsaber up and down his pecs and his abs, and he's like a he's just like a he's like a model on TikTok. Like people just thirst over him, which I mean I don't blame them. He's a very handsome man, which is going to benefit him greatly in this house. Honestly though, and I guess he likes guns, and supposedly he likes posts by Donald Trump, which the Big Brother community gets all in a fuss about. I get it. I 100% get it. Again, I don't like to ruin the show for myself by like really digging into people's political affiliations. Like for the most part, Big Brother live feeds are pretty distinctly separate from politics. Like if people's political affiliations really does determine like how you feel about them, then I get why you would want to know that. If that's personally like a way that you judge people's character is by their political affiliations, then I get it. I completely understand that. In some ways I feel that way too. It's kind of just not how I roll with Big Brother. I try not to, at least, unless it's like particularly egregious, then I'll feel some type of way about a person. But Kyle Capner seems generally inoffensive. Maybe I'll eat my words for saying that, but anyway, I think if Kyle can form genuine bonds in the house and be well liked by most people, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in Big Brother 24. I get the sense that in a similar way that he's very popular on TikTok, like he's like just first impression, like when people like this is how you get successful on TikTok is if people like for you to show up in their For You page. And I mean if people like to interact with Kyle in the house, that's going to be extremely good for him. Like I could see him having an incredible social game. Just from the way he talks, the way he carries himself, he's very handsome, he's very strong. I see good things socially from him. I expect the girls are going to be all over him. Um, he says he started with BB16, which in some ways I feel good about that because that's the season. It's not the season I started with Big Brother 14, which was a great season for me to start with. It's how I fell in love with the game is BB14, but BB16 is where I started watching the live feed, so I kind of have a nostalgia for that cast and that live feed experience. So the fact that he started with season 16, like I kind of get where he's coming from in that sense. Like it is kind of like the start of the modern era of Big Brother is BB16. So it's interesting that that's where he started. Um, but he also says he's very competitive and he's going to struggle to throw competitions, which almost gives me Christian vibes from BB23, where Christian was a very likable guy. Nobody really disliked Christian. He got along with everybody. Even Tiffany, who was like the social leader of that house, had such a fondness for Christian because of like his social capabilities. Like he was just like such a likable, like easy to talk to guy. But it was his inability to tone down his competition strength that just like tanked Christian's game. And that could tank Kyle's game if the women or other players in general are savvy enough to want to target the very strong players in the house. There's two different types of approaches to dealing with competition threats in Big Brother. There's players like Derek, which I would say this is like the Big Brother meta, honestly, is you want the competition beasts to stick around and be on your side, to be on your team. If you have control over the people who are winning the competitions, then you essentially hold all the power in the game. And so voting out the competition threats is not beneficial to you. The ideal play would be to ally yourself with the competition threats and keep them around as long as possible and cut them in the end. And it'll be one or the other for Kyle. Either he ends up in a showmance and he's just throwing off he's showing off his physical strength way too much and he gets taken out, or he becomes a very useful pawn in somebody else's larger scheme, which who knows who that could be this season. That's what's exciting about new seasons of Big Brother is there's every season of Big Brother births some legends of the game. I don't think there's many seasons at all that did not spawn memorable icons in the Big Brother history book. And so there will be some in this cast. We don't know who they are. We don't know who will be pulling the strings in this season, but if somebody's pulling the strings, Kyle could be a very useful tool at their disposal. He, once again, I remember in Kyle's interview, he brings up the fact that he loved Tyler. There's a lot of love for Tyler, BB20 Tyler, in this group. I'm wondering if they're showing them Big Brother 20 and Sequester. There was a lot of Big Brother Canada 6 being spoken by these house guests, which is very interesting. I like that they're being shown Big Brother Canada. But anyway, Kyle specifically mentions that he loved the fact that Tyler was making final twos with half the house and nobody knew that he was making all these final twos. And if like a lot of people are going into the game like respecting and liking Tyler's game and everyone's kind of trying to do the same thing where everyone's making final twos with everyone, that is going to blow up in a beautiful, wonderful way. And I hope that happens. I hope everyone's trying to make final twos and everyone's trying to be Tyler. But nobody could probably be as good as Tyler. Tyler's game worked so well in Big Brother 20 because like nobody could see that this like goofy talking surfer guy would be such a social and strategic threat. Like nobody, like his threat level was always so low. Like nobody could see that he was like running everything, and that it's going to be almost impossible to do that game again. But I'd like to see Kyle try, and I hope a lot of people try because that will make for a beautiful mess. But moving on. Next we have Joe Pucciarelli. I'm reading that is how you say his name. It is Pucciarelli. Joe Pucciarelli. He wants to be called Pooch. He's 24. He's from Staten Island, New York. He currently lives in Boca Raton, Florida, and he's an assistant football coach. Pooch is hard. He's hard to read, like extremely hard to read. Like I said, when I watch these interviews, I try to look in their eyes. I try to read their mannerisms. He has kind of like a unique voice, like a unique way of pronouncing words. But I don't know. Like I'm struggling to get that because like first impression, just like visually, like when you look at him, like this is going to be another Brent Champagne. He is going to be a, for lack of a better word, a douchebag. But I don't know. I don't get that read from him. I mean, a lot of these interviews were very sleepy, and like Pooch's interview was no different. Um, but I don't know. It's kind of like a Terrence situation where I'm waiting. I kind of want to see what Pooch's real personality ends up being when he gets in the house because he was really hard to read in these interviews. So I kind of have to go by what he was saying, like his statements, like about what he wants to do. He said he's here to make a little bit of chaos, which I find hard to believe based on his mannerisms. Like he doesn't seem like a chaotic person at all. He seems like a very like straightforward, like chill guy based on the interviews. Um, he used something that I noted is that he used the term floater to describe a player who just like coasts by and just like floats by in the game. When really what the term floater really should mean in Big Brother and really does mean is you're floating from alliance to alliance. Like if you're a floater, it's a strategy in the game where you kind of are gravitating towards whichever side of the house has power. Whichever side of the house is controlling the game, you float to that side. That's what a floater is. But Rachel Riley famously with her floaters grab a life vest, kind of coined the new definition of floater, which is somebody that just does nothing and sits around in the game. And he used the word floater in that context. And I feel like that way of using floater has kind of almost been retired by this point. Like I feel like it's almost like the word floater has been corrected in recent years. Like it has gone back to the way it used to be. Or really I don't hear the word floater very often at all. Maybe I'm misremembering. But that almost kind of implies to me that he has seen seasons that go back a little bit. Like back to like the BB12, BB13 era of Big Brother, where Rachel is using the term floater a lot in that way. I don't know. It's just a hunch. So he could be more of a fan than he's letting on. Um, he also says that he's competitive and will struggle to throw competitions. He's a football coach. He says he's very competitive. But he also mentioned I think out of all the interviews, he's the person who most I heard it quite a bit in some of these interviews from the men, which is why I kind of have fears of a big male alliance happening in this season. But he constantly refers to playing for his team, and he uses his team to describe like an alliance loyalty that he will have in the game. Like he wants to benefit not only him but his alliance. Like he thinks that playing for his alliance will get him far in the game. So that's it. I mean, that's where I'm at. I mean, aside from that, he says he wants to create chaos, which I don't know what. How are you supposed to play for an alliance but also make chaos? He said he wants to make chaos for the benefit of his alliance. So maybe like a Brett, like a Brett BB20 type situation. But he doesn't give me Brett energy at all. But I don't know. I mean, these interviews are very low energy. So once again, I'm ready for Pooch to surprise me. I don't know what we're going to get with Pooch, but I'm very interested to see what we get with Pooch. He seems like a pretty genuine, nice guy, but I could be wrong. Who knows? Next, we have Jasmine Davis. She is 29. She's from Terry, Mississippi. She currently lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and she is an entrepreneur. I don't know what her business is. That'd be interesting to learn that. Jasmine is another one. I'd say like out of the entire cast, Jasmine and Pooch are the two that I it's just like impossible for me to read their personality. Not impossible, but like I feel like what they're giving in their interviews is not what they're going to be giving in the house. Like in Jasmine's, like CBS released a couple videos, like very quick videos, like very like shareable, like quick little clips of the house guests just like dancing or whatever, or putting their hand to the camera briefly. And Jasmine's in her little dance, like she does like a little like flashy thing, like shaking her fingers with her nails. And I was like, okay, like she's giving me some like high energy personality there. But in her video interview, once again, it's very low energy, very low key. So I don't know. I mean, my gut is telling me that Jasmine is going to be a ticking time bomb of explosive entertainment. I hope so. I hope that's the case from Jasmine. I want that from Jasmine. I just get the sense. I get the sense that Jasmine has a bone to pick. Like she has something to prove. Like she's like I get that I could be totally wrong in this read, but like what I was thinking while I was watching her speak is that if she feels that she is in a bad position in the game, that she is going to very aggressively try to correct that position in the game. And it could possibly blow up her spot, but I just get that. Like, I don't think that, like, when Jasmine is, like, inevitably everyone is, for the most part, targeted at some point in Big Brother. And if Jasmine ever finds herself in any kind of danger, I see her not going down without a fight. Like, she seems like she's not showing it much in the interview, but I get the sense that she has a fire in her, like she has something to prove. Like, I think she could be a badass if she wanted to. That's what I get from Jasmine, which honestly, other than that, I don't get much. And even that, I'm kind of guessing because her answers are very standard for the most part, like what she actually says, and her mannerisms are very toned down. But I have to imagine that they had to have cast her for more than what she's giving in the interviews. So that's my best guess as to what her real personality's like. Next, we have Indy Santos. Indy Santos is 31. I'm already smiling because I'm excited to talk about Indy. She's from Sao Paulo, Brazil. So she's an international house guest, which we had another one in my God, I forgot his name. Oh my God, tragic. I'm so sorry. Marvin. I've already forgotten about Marvin. Oh, that's so sad. I'm so sorry, Marvin. Marvin was from Nigeria, which was very cool. Unfortunately, not anymore. And then Indy is from Brazil. Now she lives in Los Angeles. She's a corporate flight attendant. Uh, and I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that she's from Brazil. I think it's awesome that she's like very recent to the English language. I think she had said that in her interviews. And I love like what I love about the live feeds is getting to hear one of my favorite. Let me. I don't have a specific anecdote, but I love being able to turn on live feeds on an average morning and see a house guest sitting in the backyard with a cup of coffee, eating their breakfast, talking with another person and telling a personal story about themselves and kind of just like talking about their lives. It's I love getting to be a fly on the wall and just like listening in on people just chatting with each other about their lives. And that viewing experience is more enjoyable when people have widely varying life experiences. And that can come from especially people coming from different countries. And I'm despite anything you can say about her game, which I'll get into in a second, I'm excited for Indy to. I'm happy that Indy is a part of this cast, and I'm happy that she's going to be a part of Big Brother 24. Hopefully for long. I hope. I mean, like, I mean, it'd be rude as hell to vote her out first because she's like struggling to fit in, like with her maybe like potential like language barrier and like not fitting in with the other house guests. I hope that's not the case. I hope she gets to like fly under the radar for a while and hang around. Um, but with that all being said, Indy does not know this game at all. She does not know this game, seemingly one little bit. I'm not even sure. It was kind of unclear. I could be corrected in the comments. It was kind of unclear if she's seen much of Big Brother at all. Uh, anytime she was asked a strategy question, it almost seemed like she was annoyed that she was having to answer questions about strategy. Like she's just like not about it. Like she's just like it got like I got the impression that she's like, aren't I just gonna get in there and like figure it all out when I get in there? Like why are you like act like she almost seemed startled at the idea that she would be like before the game had started like thinking about what she's going to do strategically in the game. Like it almost like hadn't even occurred to her that that's an element to the game, is like really like having a well thought out strategy, which is hilarious, which I love. Not everyone in Big Brother has to be a game bot. I think if I know other people have said this, but not enough people say this. We all want super fans to be on the show. We love super fans, we relate to them. Anyone who's a super fan just loves to see other people who are passionate about the game living out their dreams on the show and getting to play the game that they love. But if everyone's a super fan, that would be very, very boring. Very boring. So I'm glad Indy's in the house. We don't need a whole house of super fans. I almost feel like Big Brother 23 was almost like that, where you had so many fans in the house and so many talented social and strategic players that there were pretty much no fights, no arguments in the entire season. Everyone was just kind of executing the strategy that they thought was right. Everyone knows that jury management is very important. Everybody knows that being good with everyone is the optimal strategy. And so everyone was just kind of getting along. And that's not always entertaining to watch everybody get along and everybody play a good game. You need people to be playing a bad game. Like sometimes when people are playing a bad game, it's entertaining. Some of the most loved players of all time would never win Big Brother. Never. Never. Put them in 100 seasons, they will never win because they're not good at the game, but we love them for it. So I hope that's what we get from Indy. I want Indy to be a character. I'm excited to see what she gives us. I appreciate and I'm thankful that Indy is a part of the cast. Next, we have Daniel Durston, the Elvis impersonator. He is 35. He's from Ontario, California, currently lives in Las Vegas, Nevada, and he is a Vegas performer. Now, from his interview, he is a super fan. He's seen every season. He said he's been applying for the game for 10 years, is what I think he said in his interview. So he loves this game. It shows. He's a he is like happy, he's giddy, he's like jumping out of his seat, like excited to play the game. And I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's going to bring a lot. I think Daniel is going to bring a lot to this season. Hopefully it's not only he's an Elvis impersonator and that's the only joke we're ever going to make about Daniel and he's such a joke character from the editors that we don't even see him. Hope that's not the case. But as of now, Daniel Durston is my winner pick for Big Brother 24. And it's for a lot of reasons. He is charismatic. He is seemingly charming. I thought he was charming, at least. I mean, maybe others won't. He's athletic. I think he's much smarter than you would think at first. Like when you hear Elvis impersonator from Vegas, like you don't think like intelligent strategic threat. So I almost hope that he plays up his Elvis impersonator thing because he'll be super underestimated. And I think even the fan base right now is kind of underestimating Daniel. I hope I'm right about this. I think I'm right about this. I think Daniel is going to go the distance. I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the game. I really like him. Uh, he also said that his favorite player is Dan Giesling, which always major points. If Dan is your favorite player, Dan is a legend. He's greatest to ever play the game. I'll stand by that forever. He also says that he will never throw a competition, which is interesting, which is weird. I kind of like that in a way. Like when you're a player like Daniel and you're not like shredded like like meathead energy and you're there to play the game strategically, I think it is the correct strategy to try to get. Obviously, the meta is to get other people to make the moves for you that you want them to make. But I think Daniel recognizes that winning a lot of competitions is in the modern age of Big Brother is not a bad thing. Like people respect competition wins. I think of like Jackson and Big Brother 21. Jackson just won so many competitions they just couldn't get him out. Like him and Holly just won competitions back to back, and they the house guests had really no opportunity to take a shot at them. And so if Daniel is anything like that, then I think he's got the right idea. Winning competitions in Modern Big Brother is not bad, especially if you are remaining likable along the way. If you can win a lot of, I mean, Tyler in Big Brother 20 won a lot of competitions, and he was like he still kept his threat level low. If Daniel can navigate that, then he is going to be a powerhouse in Big Brother 24, which is what I'm expecting. So keep your eye on Daniel. Keep your eye on him. I could eat these words. With all these people, I could eat these words, which is fun. That's what's fun about this. But moving on. Oh boy, here's a good one. Brittany Hoops. Brittany. Let's talk about Brittany. She's 32. She's from Atlanta, Georgia. She currently lives in Austin, Texas. She is a hypnotherapist. Brittany is a hypnotherapist. What is that? What is a hypnotherapist? I don't know. You don't know. You cannot tell me you know what a hypnotherapist is. If you do, you're lying. I don't believe you. But anyway, if I remember correctly from her interviews, Brittany is a designer or tester of kids' toys. She is also a hypnotherapist, and she's also a competitive belly dancer. It's just like such a random combination of things that it's just like immediately intriguing. It's like what is her deal? Like she's like so interesting. There's so much going on with Brittany, and it comes off in her video interview like the forever meme of Brittany, probably even for years to come, is Brittany is the only person in these laptop interviews they did in her hotel room where the entire time she's talking, she is like this. She's talking to you like this. She's smiling big the entire time, and she comes off so strong, and she's got so much energy. She's bouncing. She has a lot to say. I love Brittany. I love Brittany. She's a character. I'm happy we've got big characters on this cast with a lot of personality, but she comes on way too strong. Way too strong. I don't expect Brittany to get anywhere near the end. Um, Despite being a super fan, which she says that she says she's seen every season. She's got the strategy down. Like all the stuff she says is correct. Like the moves she wants to make, the strategy she wants to implement. She knows what not to do. She knows what to do. Do I think she's going to be able to pull it off? No. No. Because in order to execute that strategy, you have to be well liked. You have to have people that want to work with you. And I think she has like such chaotic, wild energy. She's got crazy eyes. She's got the crazy eyes. I'm not saying she's a crazy person. I'm saying she's got the crazy eyes. Like she has like the overly obsessed girlfriend. I think that's what the meme is called. She has that look to her, which is gonna come off way too strong, I have to imagine. Unless she's just like super endearing and likable in the house and everybody just accepts that energy from her. But in a game like Big Brother, where everyone is looking for any reason to socially outcast you and make you the next target ahead of yourself, I don't think Brittany is long for the game. I don't think she's long for Big Brother 24. I would love, love, love to be wrong about that. I don't think I'm going to be, though. But if I had to say one major compliment to Brittany, it's that I am so thankful for the energy she gave in her interview, in her video interview, because everyone else, like practically everyone else, it looked like they were falling asleep, which I don't blame them because they're sitting around in their dusty hotel room but like she was trying to it was almost like she was doing a diary room session in her interview, which I'm thankful for. I'm like, thank you for like giving me some energy in these interviews. Like I love Big Brother, but like some of these interviews were like hard to get through because they're they're talking like this. They're saying, this is what I'm gonna do in the house, and it's gonna be good, and I really like this player, blah, blah, blah. So I like that she was giving a little bit more, and I think she's gonna be giving in the house, and I'm very excited. I I got a good laugh in her interview. She said that when she wins HOH, she wants everyone to breathe a sigh of relief when she wins HOH because everyone is so comfortable with her that when she wins, everyone will go, "Ah, Brittany won. Okay, we're good. Like this is gonna be a good week." That is that is that is not what is gonna happen. Like Brittany is going to be such a wild card that when Brittany wins, people are going to be panicking. People are going to be pacing back and forth, wondering what Brittany is going to do. I think that's what I expect. I found that funny that it's possible that Brittany will lack some self awareness in the game, which would be great. But I mean, you never know. You never know. I love Brittany. I love Brittany. Next, we have Amira. Amira Jones. Amira, I am saying that right, if the pronunciation is right. Amira. She's 31. She's from Westminster. Where's MD? Oh, man. This is awkward. What's MD? I don't know. Maryland? Probably Maryland. I'm not cutting that out. She's a content designer. I don't know what that means. She designs content. Yep, that's Amira. I Amira's tough. I really like Amira. She seems really, really smart. She seems very kind. She seems very nice. But I'm worried about Amira. And it's for a couple reasons. She seems kind of meek. Is meek the right word? She seems timid. Like one thing she said in her interview, she said she made some offhand comment, and immediately like she was kind of like her she was like losing eye contact with the camera, and she seemed a little nervous that she had just said that, and then she kind of mumbled like, "Oh, please, America, don't hate me for saying that." And I did not like that at all. Like as a Big Brother player, like you cannot be thinking about like you can't be constantly thinking about like what America's going to be thinking about you. You have to some extent like kind of like maintain like I mean you're on a TV show like you want to make sure that you're staying classy to some degree and not just being like a total like making a fool. You don't want to make a fool of yourself and just say stupid stuff all the time without even thinking about it, but she seems to be kind of like she seemed in that moment to be like like she's not even in the game and she's already like afraid of what America's going to think about her. So not great. Don't love that. Um, I'm worried that Amira, despite like I think she's very smart, I think she's very capable, but I'm worried she may not have what it takes to. I don't know if she has what it takes to swim rather than sink in this fast-paced, cutthroat game that is Big Brother. Like you got to make like tough choices like really tough choices. Like in order to win Big Brother, you have to be willing to you have to cut people like brutally. You have to lie to their face. Like I don't know if there's ever been a winner of the game that has not lied straight to someone's face, and I don't know if Amira has it in her. I like her though. I like her a lot. That's what I'll say. She's very smart. I could be underestimating her greatly. And being underestimated is I'm just kind of thinking of this now. Like she could be the winner of Big Brother 24 because I'm underestimating her, which means that the house guests may also underestimate her, which is very dangerous. That's worth considering. Maybe I just accidentally discovered the winner of Big Brother 24 being Amira Jones. We'll see. I do like her. I like her a lot. And now our final house guest. Alyssa. Oh no, it's not our final house guest because we have Joseph. We have our new one, Joseph. Although there's not much to say about Joseph, to be honest. He had a little interview, but it was he looked half asleep. He looked like he didn't have much to say. But we'll get to him. Alyssa. Yeah. Alyssa. Yeah. Alyssa. Alyssa's giving me nothing. She's giving me absolutely nothing. Alyssa Snyder, she's 24. She's from Sarasota, Florida, and she's a marketing rep. She's another Alyssa. Alyssa from last season was from Florida. I think Alyssa from BB23 was also from Sarasota, Florida, which is like, is Alyssa's from Florida just a new casting archetype in the Jesse era of Big Brother casting? Maybe. I don't know. But yeah. Alyssa's answers were very clean. They were very concise. If I were to describe Alyssa Snyder, I would say polished and inoffensive, which is boring. A little boring. A little boring. Man, I don't know what else there is to say about Alyssa. Like, her answers were the shortest out of everyone. Like she would get a question and she would say, "I'm going to do this because of this." Period. And then just ended the like her everyone else's answers were 45 seconds, hers were 10. 10 seconds. Like 75% shorter than everybody else's answers. Like, she did not have much to say. She was very to the point. Just like, boom, that's my answer. With a big smile, like a pageant smile. So, I mean, she says she's here to play, that she won't throw competitions. She's here to play. Let's see Alyssa play. I don't know. I don't get anything from her. So, wild card Alyssa. Maybe she'll be the new Angela and be the furniture for the first 50 days and then win a competition and suddenly they're a player in the game and then be in one of the most iconic showmances of all time. That could be Alyssa's trajectory. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Finally, I'm sorry to I'm sorry to Alyssa if Alyssa ends up being the winner of this game and I just brushed her off like she's boring nothing at all. I mean, you didn't give us much in these interviews at all. If she were to look at her interview compared to everyone else, she would be like, "Man, I really should have, I really should have given more in my answers. Like, I looked so boring compared to everyone else." That's just how I viewed it, at least. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I'm not being too harsh. She was boring. All right, the last one is Joseph. All I'm gonna say about Joseph. Oh my God, let me pull up Joseph's new. Oh my God, I'm doing this on the fly. I gotta find Joseph's freaking. Joseph is a 24-year-old lawyer. They didn't even give us his last name, which is hilarious in the tweet. It's like they're saying, the Big Brother team is saying, we are not even going to give you Joseph's last name because we're seeing what you're doing with all these other house guests, digging into every problematic thing they've ever done or said in their entire life. So we're not even going to give you Joseph's last name. We're not going to let you ruin Joseph's life. We're not even going to give you the luxury. So he's Joseph. He's a 24-year-old lawyer from Lake Worth, Florida. He is shredded. He's got a crazy body. Seemed like he was half asleep in the interview he was giving. I have no idea. He replaced Marvin. I'd say Marvin was probably bigger physically than Joseph is. I'm joking with my girlfriend about Joseph being Joseph Joestar. If you watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you know what I'm talking about. Because he's big, he's built. Like, there's a picture going around Twitter where he's shirtless and he is shredded, like bodybuilder shredded. Not quite as shredded as Marvin was. Rest in peace, Marvin. But I don't know. I mean, Joseph's going to be an interesting one. I mean, there could even be more casts. So there's still hours and hours to go before they enter that house. So there could be more cast substitutions. Who knows? But we have Joseph in the cast now. I'm honestly like it's interesting that we don't really know much about Joseph. because we don't know what to expect with him. I don't know. I mean Marvin. I think Marvin would have been really fun. He seemed to be like a very like bubbly, happy personality. Like in every interview he did, like he was on America's Got Talent. I'm talking more about Marvin than I am about Joseph. But Marvin, he never took the smile off his face. He seemed to be a very like positive. He seemed to have very positive, happy energy. So I don't know if Joseph's going to be able to replace our dear Marvin, but here we have him. Our new lawyer for no, we got two lawyers. Two lawyers. We got freaking what's his name? Michael. We have Michael and Joseph. Michael and Joseph, two lawyers on Big Brother 24. We had one lawyer last time who won the whole thing, so maybe this will be the battle of the lawyers. I'm studying to go to law school right now, so maybe by the time I get on Big Brother, I will also join the hierarchy of lawyers on Big Brother. We'll see. I don't know. But I didn't say anything about Joseph practically. Oh well. That's where I'm at with the Big Brother 24 cast. I am beyond excited for the summer we have ahead of us. It could be a train wreck disaster. It could be a beautiful, legendary, iconic season full of twists and turns. We could have a split house. We could have some of the biggest fights in history. It could be a sleepy steamroll to the end. It's always unpredictable. We never really know what's going to happen in Big Brother. That's what's so fun about it. And even if we know what's going to happen, getting to watch 16 strangers play an intense social game where they are separated from their loved ones and the outside world, and they don't have their cell phones, and all they can do is talk with each other and live with each other and deal with each other all day long, all night long. And there's nothing else like it in the world. And as long as Big Brother is on, I will be on those live feeds. I will be consuming the content. I will be watching them live in that house. And once again, I we have it we have a wonderful summer ahead of us. And so if you enjoyed watching me ramble about the Big Brother 24 house guests, then subscribe to the Sink or Swim podcast. I don't know if this is a podcast or just a YouTube channel where I'm just talking and rambling. What I would like to do for this season is if there's a night where I personally spent the entire night watching live feeds, I would love to kind of sit in a setting like this and kind of tell you guys the story of what happened that night. Because, like, imagine other podcasts like to really break it down on a game level. Like, this person's very well positioned in the game. This person has this many alliances. This person is just made this move and now they're positioned over here. And I do love that stuff. I consume that content. I eat that content up constantly. I love it. I'm addicted to it. But I think there's a vacuum of of uh of streamers or YouTubers who really talk about the human aspect of the Big Brother live feeds. And that's kind of what I want to bring to this platform and to this community. I want to talk about what personal conversations the houseguests are talking about. I want to talk like when you're in a social setting, right? Like imagine you're in a social setting. You have your own internal like storyline of what you've been doing throughout the night. Like you can think back on the night and be like, I did this. I was feeling kind of weird about this person, but then I saw these two talking, and then I went over to this room to tell this person that I what like there's a sequence of events that happens in social situations, and it's fun to tell it like a story. And that's what I would like to do. I'm going to watch the live feeds. I'm gonna kind of try to recap the storyline of what happened. Kind of try to talk about it from the different house guests. I like to dig into the minds of the house guests that aren't even necessarily game relevant. Like even the not game relevant players, like they have an internal monologue of how they feel about other people and how they navigate every day and like the mood they're in and what they're doing and what they're saying. And I think it's interesting to really talk about like the social dynamics and where everyone's at and what life is like I want to paint a picture of what life is like in the hamster habitat of Big Brother 24. So if you like hearing me talk, if you like what I have to say, if you like my energy, if you like my vibe, I love Big Brother. I would like to share my love of Big Brother with you, and that is what I'm going to try to do with the Sink or Swim podcast. So like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you feel like it, follow me on Twitter at where is it? Sink or Swim Pod. I'll be chatting on Twitter. I'm trying to be more active on Twitter. I know I don't love Twitter. I don't love the community, but I'm trying to be a part of the community. So accept me. Accept me into your community. I wish to be a part of you. I love you. Good night.